Before this video begins, I'd like to say that this video is just me doing some experimentations, testing out and playing with the various elements of video essay creation. So this video is by no means a polished, well thought out project. It's just kind of a demo sequence that emulates the type of contents I'd like to try out hopefully in the near future. So do try to overlook the obvious looping imperfections that will surely be plaguing it to a great extent. And now, let's have this quick one before the eternal worm devours Connecticut. Batman, Arkham City. The air heavy with fumes and crimes, the whole city riddled with worn-out buildings, malfunctioning neon signs, and the wholesale mayhem by the sick and freaks on the loose. What a terribly melancholic yet exquisite sight to behold. Only a handful of games ever come close enough to this 2011 classic by Rocksteady in case of emulating such atmospheric, grim, gritty, and neo-noir cityscape. From the moment Bruce Wayne puts on his cowl and stands in front of the sinister skyline of Arkham City, I fell in love with the city itself. Atmosphere has always been the single most important thing for me when it comes to gaming or any other form of entertainment medium. I might just well say that it's literally all I ever care about at times, because there have been countless games that I just can't get out of my head despite being absolutely underwhelming in their substance, only because they had atmospheres so unique and cathartic that I turned a blind eye on their any other aspects whatsoever. And Batman Arkham City is chock full of terrifyingly atmospheric environments. However, not to say that this is a game that falls short on its other aspects either, because this is a chaotic blend of both top-notch style and solid substance if anything. But this video really isn't about any of the substance, it's all about Arkham's aesthetics and violently stylish urban hellscape. The most interesting thing about the open world of Arkham City is the way how the city is put together. It is the architecture and decoration. It's just amazing how there isn't one single blandly modern looking skyscrapers or structures around the whole place. It is crafted to the blend of Gothic architecture and art movements such as Art Deco and Art Nouveau. Every building is geared with gargoyles, glass murals, graffitis, neons and billboards, and all of this is wrapped in the shadowy blanket of Arkham's cold and misty weather. Like a final touch of perfection atop a masterfully crafted piece of art. The world building is almost Orwellian, with the abundance of political posters, rusted factory towers, highways that fall into the sea, and deco statues all over it. It is simply overwhelming, claustrophobic, and beautiful. Two particularly favorite spots of mine in the city are the museum, which has Penguin's Iceberg Lounge, and the abandoned subway station. The museum is this rundown and battered up place with all the display cases taken apart, cracked up, filled with all the crazy stuff the Penguin has put inside there, and all of this has quite a bit of personality and context to its environment. The whole museum gives out this punk rock yet elegant vibe that is very hard to put into words, and the ever-present washed-off grimly color palette amplifies that feeling to 11. Deeper inside the museum is Penguin's Iceberg Lounge, which is this strangely beautiful arena ornamented with a more bluish, colder color tone, icebergs, massive sculptures, blizzard, a giant octopus, a literal giant great white shark named Tiny, and an extremely jazzy lounge hall that feels just at home. The second location, the Arkham City subway, is definitely another great example of environment full of depth and personality. I, for a fact, absolutely love subway levels. I cannot express how much I love the subway sequence at the beginning of Max Payne, and this one in Arkham is definitely one of those subway arenas that are done right. The train are all worn out, the whole place smells of decay and abandonment as if it's almost falling apart. Beautifully crafted, gothic subway terminal, it's all just mind-numbingly spectacular. The subway really reminds me of the beginning sequence of this year's The Batman by Matt Reeves. Both of them shares this bleak, vandalized, and sinister ambience that I just can't get enough of.
I'm vengeance.
One big element that really adds a lot more to the overall experience of exploring this glorious city, I think, is Batman himself, or at least the rendition of Batman that is portrayed in this game. Usually the presence of a single man would feel rather insignificant in front of such a chaotic monster of a city, but the way Batman is shown off in the game, with his wide and brooding physique wrapped inside his pitch black clothing, covering almost half of the screen all the time, makes him feel like a much scarier monster than the city can ever be. It's as if the whole city's menacing presence is nothing but short of trivial in front of the caped crusader's shadowy figure. The whole city is in absolute fear of the very thought of Batman lurking in its dark corners. This style of Batman really captures the essence of how Batman feels in the comic books. Its dark, menacing silhouette towering above the nastiness of Gotham City, looking down on its delinquents with scorn and hatred. But above all, the most crucial factor in the aesthetics of Arkham City is its ever-going anarchy and disorder. Without this one element, the city would be just another somewhat good-looking game world, which definitely wouldn't evoke the same feelings of melancholy and coziness as it does now. The city is empty, dead, barren. There are no civilians, no busy and bustling crowd, no horns and screeches of motor cars. The only inhabitants of the city are the patrolling and wandering packs of outlaws and freaks. It's this sense of emptiness and isolation in Arkham City that really makes me feel somewhat calm and peaceful. Batman, lying atop the dark rooftop of a skyscraper, hiding under his warm cape from the winter of Arkham City, is truly a soothing thing to experience. Comparing it to the previous Arkham game, which is Arkham Asylum, I must say, although a very solid game, Asylum's aesthetics felt rather ugly and nerve-wracking to me. They sure nailed the vibes of the early 2000s Batman films with the look of it, but playing through the game really made me feel quite uneasy. And so I hopped onto Arkham City with pretty low expectations, but guess I was very wrong. Unlike its prequel, which evoked feelings of discomfort in me, City really made me feel at ease, made me feel like being at home, and I honestly never imagined that even anarchy and destruction can really give off such sense of comfort and peace. It's, in simpler terms, one absolute fucking kino of a game.